All regulations on public services need to be adjusted with Law number 25 of 2009. In Article number 51, number 59, it is regulated that Law on public services will take effect 2 years after it was ratified. Law number 25 of 2009 on public services was ratified on July 18, 2009. This law will be 2 years old next month. Former head of the Public Service Draft Bill Working Committee, Sayuti Asyathri, the law of publishing in the Administrative Reform Ministry, said that based on Article 59 of the law, all of the regulation on public services needs to be aligned with Law number 25 of 2009, 2 years after it was ratified. In the implementation, the Minister of Administrative Reform only holds the responsibility to monitor the implementation, while the responsibility lies in the hands of each Secretary General within the Ministry. Regionally, the implementation will be handled by the Regional Secretary. This law is issued with the hope that all public services are provided at the maximum quality based on good governance. It will also make sure that rights and responsibilities in public services are met based on regulations. Law and public services, which will take effect next month, is still unnoticed by the public. To understand the essence of this law, we will discuss this further with Mr. Sayuti Asyathri, former Deputy Head of the Commissioner 2 Working Committee, which formulates the law on public services. Okay, let's now start our talking point with Mr. Asyathtri here, Mr. Sayuti Asyathri. Thank you very much for joining us here in our talking point tonight, sir.
Yes.
Yes. I understand that actually the law on public work is not the single law that was formulated back in 2009. And there are actually several laws that was formulated back then?
Yeah. In Komisi 2,
yes.
Other than law on public services, there was law on population administration,
yes,
and law on national archives.
National archives. And so the public services was actually one of the products were formulated back then.
Yes, of course.
Yes. Okay, regarding the public works, what is actually the essence of the public works law which is being implemented in this year?
Actually, after the amendment of our Constitution, and until the last amendment, the core concern in the message of that of the Constitution is on human rights, and like the actual issue today, that is how to make Pancasila as an ideology. Yes. And how to ensure the implementation of Pancasila as an ideology. And in the article, in the principle, the second principle of Pancasila, there is the principle of just and civilized humanity. That is the central point that has been taken as the reference to formulate the law on public services. Okay,
so just civilized humanity, and how does it translate to the benefits for all the people?
Yeah, we need good governance, and that is the very important message of the Constitution. Good governance, and good governance has to be expressed in how the state and especially the government express their dedication to the people based on a law called law on public services.
Okay, and based on this law, actually all of the regulations prior to this, the law implementation has to be adjusted with law of public works right now. So yeah, there should be many.
There are a lot of adjustment that has to be made due to the implementation of this law. That is, I'm not going into details on how what are those kind of regulation needed to implement this law. But first of all, I think that people has to know what is the law on public services.
Okay.
The first one is in this law, the very first law in Indonesia. So it is not a revised one. It is the new law on public services. The first one is we struggle hard at the time how to broaden the scope of this law.
Okay.
Because people always think that public service only cover the service of administration provided by the government. We put administration services is just one. The other is including the service of goods, public goods and services. It is also included in the regulation of the law.
Yeah.
And the extension, the other extension is not only state or government binded by this law, but also corporate sector also binded to this law. So the services by companies to some extent of its networks, to some amount of its capital or cost used in that operation, they are also binded to this law. So if you have a schedule of flight, then you couldn't fly in the due time, you could claim and get reimbursement due to this law. So the authority of ombudsman, the institution specially designed and based on the special institution on ombudsman, that is ombudsman in Indonesia is Lembaga Pengawasan Pelayanan Publik, a supervising body to supervise, to control the implementation of public services. This ombudsman, we give authority in this law, more than the authority given by the ombudsman law itself. That is the authority to play a role of adjudication, or to make the providence of reimbursement. They could trial the people who have conflicts of interest in the area of public services.
So they have the legal power based on
legal power. So you, as a citizen, if you have something to do with your claim, you are mistreated by the agent of public services, you can go claim to the ombudsman. You can claim some reimbursement. And the very important thing in this law is that if this law is strictly implemented, we put there not only like many other laws that if you claim the damage or mistreatment by the institution, you have to claim the institution. No. In this law, we put people who are responsible in the public services, they could be claimed. The personnel of the government, the companies, the agent of public services. And if they, for example, they build bridges or streets, roads, they have to announce the standard of services. The standard of services have to be met by them, and they announce. That is, we call it maklumat pelayanan. Maklumat. They have to make it to be maklumat, to be announced, to be known by the people. In that maklumat, they have to put the address of the personnel, who is responsible.
They have to become accountable.
Become accountable, and they have to put their addresses Yeah, their cellular number. So, when there is a claim,
Yes.
the claim has a clear address to be addressed.
I see.
That is the important thing in this law.
So actually it teaches all of the Indonesian people, actually not only the government, to be responsible in every act that they do.
Yeah, yeah, they have to be responsible. And for example, in the road building, building roads and streets, something like that, they have to put in that guarantee.
Okay.
For example, this road is guaranteed for 5 years. Below than 5 years, they have to be responsible.
Okay, so overall it would be beneficial not only for the Indonesian government, but actually it's contributing to
the people.
To the people.
And if it is implemented rightly, then it will constitute a good environment to the investment, to the business environment, to the interaction of the people. And we will have a very friendly society. And it will increase the number of tourists and the good image of Indonesia. And this is a very central law that has to be implemented soon.
Yeah. So actually we have a little light, a bright light for Indonesian future.
A bright light. And the Minister of State Apparatus in this law has been put as the sole responsible minister in coordinating the implementation of public services in the government institutions.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Asyathtri, it is a very interesting topic that we have today, and I believe that this will help not only the government, the public, but international world to see who Indonesia really is.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the opportunity tonight, sir. Thank you for having me today. And ladies and gentlemen, viewers, that is our interview with Mr. Asyathri regarding the law of public works. Stay tuned for more news right after this.